just didn't see myself ending up with someone like you. My best friend, my girlfriend, the girl whose smile changes my day, Amber said while I was on one knee proposing to her. Oh, I said, and I didn't move. Amber swayed under the yellow streetlight. She wore all white and she was at her beautiful best. Her hair was done, and her fingers and her nails were done, and the dress was short enough to show off the trail of enchantment that was her legs. I chose this location, the exact spot outside of our church, because it was where we first met. I thought she would think it was sweet. Yeah, she said. Yeah? You will marry me? I was elated. My smile widened with hope. I imagined our friends, the dancing, and sweet Amber walking down that aisle. And she smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. No, like I was just saying, yeah, I didn't imagine I'd end up being with someone like you. She still smiled, like I was just repeating myself. Oh, what's that mean? Someone like you. You know, she never stopped smiling. Her smile still changed my whole day because right now it scared me. What am I like? I adjusted, squirmed and wiggled, but remained in the same spot, unsure of what to do next. She smiled wider and shrugged. But, Amber, I said, you kept talking about kids, about marriage? You said we were getting older and running out of time. Yes. Her smile strained into a half grimace, half toothy grin. So, perhaps we should break up. And I fell back. My butt hit the floor. The ring hit the floor and rolled towards me, and my jaw dropped. In shock, I ignored the rest of what she said. As she spoke, she watched the ring spin in 3 circles and roll back to me. And then the strangest thing happened, or perhaps not so strange based on what I found out. The ring reversed. It rolled backwards and stopped at Amber's white sandaled feet. Oh, she said, we got that for you. And she squatted down and held the ring out to me, like you give a stray cat food, and I hate to admit it. It's embarrassing to write, and I hope you don't judge me, but I followed her lead. I crawled forward, accepted the ring from her hand, and thanked her for it. You're welcome, she said. You're still bringing me home, right? Let's go. She didn't wait for me to say yes. She stepped out of the yellow light, and I followed behind her flowing white dress pushed up by the wind. I opened the passenger door for her and drove her home. I wish the car ride was awkward or at least sad. And we dated for 4 years and it was over. She was my best friend. All she wanted to talk about on the way home was one of her shows. It wasn't even one we watched together, just some random one. We were in the car together, but I never felt so alone. My best friend was gone and I was the only one who cared. And I tried to interrupt with pressing questions or expressing how I was feeling, but she answered with the same stone-like disinterest. After dropping her off, I laid my head back for a while and cuddled up only with my thoughts that were dropping past the negative to the abysmal. I just didn't see myself ending up with someone like you. What did that even mean? I thought back to this OG Twilight Zone episode where the astronaut goes to an alien planet full of people who look and act like humans. Long story short, they put him in a zoo to be an exhibit on the planet. And he's begging and asking why, and then he shouts at them to let him out. I'm just like you. I'm just like you, he says as the credits roll, and he's trapped there forever. That's how I felt the whole ride. I'm just like you, Amber. Why can't you see that? A weighted blanket of self-deprecation, self-hate, insecurity, fear of the future, and the bastardization of my past covered me as I laid in bed alone. Was I gonna be alone forever? Was something wrong with me because she broke it off so easily? She didn't even care. It all was so wrong because the way she treated me felt evil. We were the best friends, and I wouldn't treat a friend like that, much less someone I loved. And the more I thought, the sadder I got, and the tears flowed. I shivered despite my covers, and then the tears stopped because something clicked in my brain. Everyone treated me like this, like I was something to be disregarded at will. My job, my church, and my friends. That wasn't how things were supposed to be. But then I thought I wasn't perfect. Maybe I deserved that. But I knew that wasn't right. It was like I physically felt the gears in my brain turning, and it hurt. Not emotionally anymore. I was getting a mild headache from the thought. The pain rolled forward into suffering when I thought deeper, and reversed into peace when I thought less. However, I didn't want peace. I wanted answers, so I dug in. I realized it wasn't right, that no matter how much I tried, I still didn't have the respect of my friends. There were so many little things that came through my head, secrets I had overheard, side comments, and how they treated me when things got tough. How was I supposed to feel? I've given my everything to my company, and they've given me condolences instead of a promotion. When was the last time I left on time? I arrived before the sun rose. I left after the sun set. I received pats on the backs, but never anything I wanted, not even respect. And to gain respect, there's no joke I can tell, no weight that I can lift or gift that I can give to be like my friends. Incidents of offense flash, of the physical and the mental, but it's a verbal one that sticks with me. It's one of my friends mocking me. I was going through a time, so I remember having to ask them to be kinder. They were not. We sat at a table for a group dinner, and they spoke above a whisper and below a proclamation. Do you think he peaked in high school? Well, he rents a shack and he's always alone. And they laugh and they move on like it's nothing. First, why would anyone say that about their friends? And second, it wasn't even true. I hadn't peaked at all. I was okay in high school and I had some friends, but ever since I got to this town, things had gotten worse. My life never had a peak, just slopes. I laid on the bed, sweating, and it poured from me until the sheets were soaked. My eyes stayed open, they stayed wide. If I shut them, would I go back to being blind? If I slept, would I wake up a happy stooge again? This had my head throbbing. This town I was in was the only place where I was treated like this. I had a life outside of this. I had normal friends and normal relationships. I didn't have to stay at the bottom of the totem pole, so why did I stay here? There had to be a good reason, right? I didn't have a career. I worked at a movie theater, but I had a college degree. I decided I would leave that night. Not forever, but for now. I wasn't bold enough to leave forever. And as if on cue, I heard the roaches in the ceiling vent doing that disgusting scattering. I had roaches in my ceiling. Why was I still there? I leapt up and pulled out a duffel bag, and I had to leave right then. Tiredness was a million miles away from me. Sleep couldn't catch me, and so I ran quick. I ran silent. I had the strong impression that someone did not want me to leave, and that someone could be watching me, and I didn't dare turn the lights on. My fear was that pressing. My fear was that real. The flashlight of my phone was my only guide. I tiptoed. I froze at the sight of shadows, and I flinched as my floors groaned. I stuffed my clothes and muttered curses because I was exposed, bent down, and susceptible. The roaches' skitter-scatter was not a comfort. I imagined them dropping from the ceiling and crawling on me, another attempt to force me to stay. I went down my checklist: socks, underwear, the shoes I wore were fine, shorts and shirts. All of my shirts were hung in my closet, and it was across the room, large enough to fit 2 people and cracked open. I did not remember leaving it cracked open. It was possible, but if I'm honest, it's always scared me, so I try to leave it shut. I shone the white light at it, revealing just the type of nondescript shirts I'd want if I was on the run. But so much darkness, so many shadows to hide in. And I walked forward anyway. My steps were so light, if I was outside, the wind that licked and smacked at the window would have tossed me around. I walked towards the closet, and I felt like I only had a minute to live. There was something about it. Something that was dangerous. Rip. In my haste, I tore a shirt, but that was enough for me. I grabbed 3 shirts, and I stuffed them in my suitcase and ran outside. When I went through the door, relief raptured me into ecstasy, and when I saw my car, terror dragged me into flaming misery. I retreated. I slammed the door and put my back against it. My strength left, and I slid down. There was a blade in each one of my tires, and put there recently. The horrible hiss of air leaving the tires haunted me from outside my door. Someone did not want me to leave, and they were either outside or near my house. The roaches walking above me was like torture to me now. Despite my fear, I was determined to leave. I brought out my phone and gambled between calling for the police or for an Uber. Now, surely if this was a massive scandal to keep me here, the police would be in on it. But a random Uber driver at this time? Maybe not. The phone light. I kept the phone light on, and that was damning me. That was the only thing my attacker could see. I had to be quick, and then I cut it off. I went into the app and did what I needed to call it, and I shut it off immediately. Trying to leave was strike 1. A voice said from inside my house. I stopped everything. I stopped moving, stopped thinking, and stopped breathing. The voice sounded close, like in my living room. I imagined him, arms outstretched, sitting there, legs crossed, maybe another blade beside him. You can talk. I know you're right in front of the door. I watched you leave. I watched you come in. It was a male voice, cordial. A regal but not royalty, more CEO than king. You're at strike 2 for the Uber call, he said. Don't make me mad and get to strike 3. I heard the couch shuffle under the duress of movement. I heard my floor creak and groan as the steps led towards me, and the smell of mold leapt from him and invaded my nostrils and tongue. Speak, he yelled. Yes, 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 I said. I'm here. Good. So we're on the same page. Who are you? I'm Mr. Pepperjack. Oh, okay, Mr. Pepperjack. What do you want? For you not to get to strike 3. What happens when I get to strike 3? Let's not find out. So go to bed. No. I decided I'm leaving. I'm gonna go. Because everybody here treats you horribly? Yes. I paused. How did you know? Because that's why you're here. You're here to be the butt of the joke, the big girl at the ball, the gum on the shoe, the slave on the end of the whip. I don't want any of that. I don't want to be any of that. Not anymore. Cute. So, here's what's gonna happen. He stepped closer. I advise you move that light back. Trust me, you don't want to see what I look like. That's right. Move it down. The light shone on his slim legs and brown loafers. Good boy, he said. Now, here's what's going to happen. You're going to hop into your bed and pretend this never happened. I don't want to do that, I said. Oh, he doesn't want to do that. Well, what if I told you? Bzz, bzz. And I didn't move. The pepperjack man laughed so deep and so loud and so monstrous that he might have well has been Santa Claus's evil cousin. His body laughed and his slim legs tremored in the baggy green slacks. Go ahead, answer it, he said, and I could hear his smile. Let's get this party started. Is it a strike? I asked. Yes. Strike 3, but I'll give you a head start, I swear on your life. I didn't know what that last part meant, but I took the risk and answered. It was from a strange number I didn't recognize. I put my phone to my ear and the pepperjack man disappeared into the dark. I'm your Uber. I'm outside, he said. I turned the volume down, afraid of what the pepperjack man would do if he found out I could leave. Oh, I said, and I waited to hear new movement or anger from the pepperjack man. But the house remained silent. Only his stench remained. That was quick, I said to the man on the phone. Too quick. It didn't seem right. Why was the pepperjack man allowing this? Yeah, that's the lift guarantee or whatever. I thought you were Uber. I do both. Gotta make a living. Are you coming or not? The man on the phone said. He seemed rude and bothered, a characteristic unbecoming of a man whose job was based on getting customer reviews. In fact, I had the odd revelation he was not an Uber driver. I pondered if staying right here with the pepperjack man was better. I think the saying goes something like, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But is this something I could live with forever? Staying here with friends who hate me, and a girlfriend who doesn't respect me, and an employer who overlooked me? No, I couldn't. I turned off the camera light and the floorboards creaked because of the old age or the pepperjack man's movements. I shut my mouth, demanded silence from my body, and I slid up the door. The floor creaked again. I took the risk. I opened the door and threw myself out, suitcase in hand. I rolled forward. If he was behind me, I wouldn't let him touch me. My car wasn't the only vehicle in the driveway anymore. A large silver bus rested across from me. It didn't make sense, and I didn't care. I pushed forward to the restless behemoth. Smoke burst through its exhaust. The bus doors whooshed apart from me, and I was greeted by the smell of cleaning supplies and urine. Uber for Derek? I asked genuinely. The bus driver, chubby, bald, and pale, said, Yeah, whatever, kid. It didn't make sense, but that was good enough for me. I headed towards the back of the bus and stopped in my tracks. The bus's occupants were unsettling caricatures of humanity. An elderly woman with orange hair pet a fresh skull with strips of meat still on it. A dark man with pointed ears and 2 heads cursed at himself and demanded that I come settle the dispute. A fleshless woman traced her fingers up my back. I felt I didn't step into a nightmare. I didn't step into hell. I stepped into something far scarier, undefined, and that was breaking my mind. Terror pushed me off the bus and back into the house. I ran across the driveway and slammed the door and flicked my flashlight back on. Once again, I pushed my back against the door, my only safe spot. The pepperjack man's scent bled into my nostrils. I whipped the flashlight around my house to catch him before he caught me. 3 quick sweeps across showed me nothing but my empty house. Slower. He had to be there. I smelled him. I sensed him. The hairs on the back of my neck stood at attention. Slower, calmer thoughts. Slower, racing heart. Slower scan of my environment. I started from the right and decided to make a full scan. I moved my flashlight to my right and I saw my coat hanger where only a black raincoat remained. The other 2 coats had fallen and they puddled around it. In front of me was the hallway leading to the empty kitchen and the living room right behind it. I eyed each chair like he could be there. They were each empty. To the left, I moved it where he had to be. But nothing leapt out. Nothing was there except my bare walls. I sat with the silence and with my thoughts, with the skittering of roaches in the vents. Only the roaches weren't skittering. Above me, there was silence. And I was attacked from above. A fist landed on my head, and my head bounced against the floor. "That's 3 strikes, Derek," he mocked, and slammed my head again. "Here's your prize." He dragged me across the floor, bloody and dazed. I almost dropped my phone. "Don't drop that," he said. "I need you to see. You have to see all of this." I moved like a slug through my house. Instead of slime, my blood was the trail, all the way to my room, all the way to my closet. "Open it," he demanded. I obeyed, and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was just in so much pain. The white world moved around me, but I managed. I pulled apart the doors, and it all came back to me. I know why I was so afraid. I had done this before. So many times. I stuffed so much into the corners of the closet and forgot all about it. A certificate I got to become a personal trainer. I had a job offer in a new city, but I didn't leave because I wanted to stay here. Notebooks full of scripts and stories. I was going to try my hand at screenwriting, scholarships and loans for school that accepted me, but I never went to. Postcards from my parents, from my friends, my real friends, asking me to come visit. Dreams not shattered but neglected, and as a parent who neglects their child knows, that time can never come back. Like children abandoned by a parent, they stared back accusingly. The weight of wasted time, of squandered potential, crushed me. I can't express the profound guilt and the worthlessness I felt. Imagine knowing every problem in your life was your own fault, and heck, maybe you deserved it. "You are not the master of your fate," the pepperjack man mocked me. "You're the battered wife who can't leave. Now go make me a sandwich like a good girl." I had to leave. I acted with fierce desperation. I whipped out the knife, rose, and stabbed Mr. Pepperjack Man in the chest, in and out, in and out, and 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 the honk of the bus outside tore through the night and sliced my self-pity. The bus still waited for me. I had to go get on the bus. I'd rather ride with monsters than wade in misery. The knife's plunge and pull sounded like a whisk and a squish as I made sure to slice somewhere new every time. In and out and in and out and in. He pulled me close and kneed my groin. I flopped to the floor and laid beneath him. He picked up the phone and showed the light on his horrible face. Holes. He had so many holes of all sizes I saw straight through him. "I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I've been everything but killed. You'll still be here when you are 87 years old telling me you deserve better. But saying all that, I spit out blood. You can't stop me from leaving, can you? You stop you from leaving, he barked back. But you don't. You won't leave. You like this. You like being needed. I inched away, every movement a struggle against the pain and fear. As I neared the door, his voice softened. The girl comes back to you, you know. I heard it in his voice now. He was standing, he wasn't hurt. But he was the one entering desperation. It won't work out with the guy she wants. You really are what's best for her. She will need you. I kept crawling. Your friends really are as spectacular as you think, he confirmed. The floorboards creaked and marked his approach behind me. You're gonna miss the adventure of your lifetime staying with them. I doubted that. I was going on a bus with monsters. What could be more adventurous? You're ignoring me, the Pepperjack man yelled. You're ignoring me, but did you know you came to me first? You act all high and mighty now, but you came to me because you had no purpose. You didn't know what you needed. I gave you something to want. I left my home and the Pepperjack man's whining. And again, I entered the bus. Hey, sorry about the scares, kid, the bus driver said. But you didn't think it would all be full of angels and, the beautiful on this tough road out of town. And now, to get to your world, you have to sit with some others who are trying to get home. They're freaks, but, they're just like you, just trying to make it home. I nodded once and took my seat on the bus. The bus driver, Sam, as I'd find out later, was right. They were freaks, but also a lot like me. As the bus rolled on, I found unexpected kinship with my fellow travelers. We shared stories over card games, our laughter a strange counterpoint to our grotesque appearances. They urged me to write about this journey, to capture the beauty in our shared brokenness. I am still somewhat upset I wasted so much of my time there, but reader, I ask you not to judge me so hard. After all, like I said before, I'm just like you. Look around you. Are you withering away in a place that you don't quite seem to fit in? If you find yourself in a place you hate and you can't quite escape, understand you can. But you may be under the influence of the Pepperjack man. I don't remember the exact moment it all started happening, but I remember the first time I noticed. I'm not a fan of the dark. Sure, laugh all you want at the 25-year-old man being afraid of the dark, but it is what it is. I'm pretty much always home before sundown. I work the morning or day shift happily, since I'm always in bed by 11:30 tops. I don't usually wake up during the night. But lately, I'd been getting up almost every night. Not a big deal, right? I'd just get a glass of water or something and fall back asleep. But then I heard it. I remember I didn't even think much of it, too. Dogs. Just a bunch of dogs barking. It sounded like every dog in the neighborhood, to be honest. It had to have been over 30, and it sounded like they were coming from every yard. Then, just as suddenly, they all stopped. 1 minute to the next, every dog stopped their incessant barking and howling, and the entire neighborhood was silent again. I turned on the hall light and went to the living room to check on Pickles. Named him after Pickle Rick, and he was curled up on the sofa. I didn't hear any barking inside my house, which is weird, right? What dog doesn't just join in that kind of frenzy? I just went back to sleep and didn't think much of it. Not until the barking woke me up again, and again the next night, and again after that. I wasn't too angry about it, just confused. It became a bit of a red flag that next Saturday. I took Pickles with me on a jog after work around the neighborhood and ran into Brock, the guy who lives in the house behind me. "Hey man, hey Pickles." He grinned down at my dog. He liked corgis and sometimes let Pickle into his yard to play with his too. "What's up, Brock?" I said, motioning that it was okay for him to give Pickles a little attention. "Nothing much, thankfully. Almost done fixing up the room for the twins." "Nice, nice. Hopefully your granddaughters don't get spooked with all the barking lately," I commented. "What do you mean?" "You know, all the barking at night. Your dogs definitely aren't innocent, but it's no biggie," I joked. "My dogs don't bark at night. They sleep in the room with me and Jane. We've never had a barking problem." His lips were in a firm line, obviously not appreciating my accusations or whatever. All right. I raised my hands in surrender. "Maybe your boys are innocent, but they must be some of the only ones. The barking's woken me up for like a week already." Brock gave me a once-over, his eyes boring into me with that kind of intensity only veterans can manage. You know, that dead-eyed look where it feels like they're stripping you and checking for bombs. "I haven't heard any barking, son. You take care," he muttered, continuing his walk and brushing past me. There's no way a dude with his history wouldn't be a light sleeper. So if he hadn't been woken up, how was I? I slept through a twister back when I lived down in Omaha. He could have been messing with me. He's a weird guy like that. But still, it left me unnerved. I didn't work the next day, so I decided to stay up late for a little WWE marathon. And I stayed on the sofa, and Pickles nuzzled into my lap and had a cold one in my hand. As the sun kept dipping closer and closer to the horizon, and I turned on the lamp on the end table. The warm yellow glow was good enough to keep the room from being too dark. I was taking turns scrolling on my phone and watching takedowns on my TV when the barking started again. God, it was even louder than it had been last night. I rolled my shoulders in discomfort. I peered down at my phone and noted the time. 2:37 a.m. By 2:38, the barking stopped. Pickles hadn't moved off my lap, much less howled along. "How the fuck did you not hear that?" I murmured, giving his head a little pat. He licked my hand. I set him down on the cushions beside me and went to turn on the room light. I pushed the blinds apart to sneak a look outside, maybe see some dogs running around. Nothing. The neighborhood was empty. Not a living soul in sight. It's weird. I went to sleep a little while later. The cycle of waking up at night kept dragging on, and each time I found it harder and harder to fall back asleep. It just felt off, like all of it was extra dodgy, because I tried to casually mention the loud-ass barking to a few more neighbors, and each time no one even knew what I was talking about. I obviously couldn't ask him, but I feel even Pickles would have looked at me like I had 3 heads if I did. I started checking my phone every time that godforsaken barking woke me up. And each time it began at 2:37 in the morning and stopped at the exact second the clock hit 2:38. The next day I had off work. I decided I'd wait at my window to see if any dogs came out. I figured they had to be nearby since the racket was just so close and loud. At 2:36 I muted my TV and held the blinds open again. The minute hand chugged on, and like clockwork, the first dog began howling. With a sound that intense, you'd think it was sitting in my front yard, but no. Just like the last time I had checked, the neighborhood was deserted. But the noise was getting ridiculous. The gruff barking and the piercing howls made my skin prickle. If I were in a movie, the hair would stand up on the back of my neck or something. At 2:38, it all came to a halt. I sighed and went to grab the melatonin I had bought and headed for bed. It took what felt like 2 hours to get to sleep. And I tried this again, but using my phone to record and send to my group chat, just so I didn't feel crazy anymore. I started recording at 2:37, right after the first dog went off. And this is when the second or third red flag hit me. The streetlight flickered abruptly and died, making my view outside pitch black. I grimaced, but I stayed at the window. As soon as I'd stopped recording, my phone flashed white and then turned off. It took like 10 minutes to get it on again, and when I did, the video was just gone. Not in my gallery, not in the trash, nowhere. It was like the video never existed. I spent the next night at my friend Patrick's house, and I think at this point it was muscle memory or instinct or something because I jerked awake at 2:37 right away. I heard a single dog howl, and that was it. But nothing as close or as loud as it was at my house. I finally got a real good sleep for the first time in half a month, and I really didn't want to leave. But I had to go back for pickles. And plus I still had a mortgage, so... Like you'd all expect, it happened again that very next night, 2:37 on the dot. I felt like I was alone in hell. No one else in my stupid neighborhood was hearing this. I couldn't catch it on camera. The streetlight hadn't been fixed, so I wasn't going to leave the house and check it out. Shit really hit the fan when I heard a bang at my door. It sounded like someone or something rammed itself against the door. Just once. But that alone kept me up the rest of the night. The next night, amidst the screeching and howling and barking and awfulness of it all, I heard scratches, both at my front and back door, like the dogs were trying to get in. I didn't sleep that night either. My eyes were always bloodshot, the bags under them such a deep brown that they made my eyes look even more sunken in. I'd never had such dark bags. It looked like my face got all hyperpigmented. I couldn't be asked to keep up with taking care of myself because I always felt exhausted. I got written up at work for sleeping on the job, but I could only find solace in quick naps during the day. I felt the drag taking its toll over me so quickly. Even my bones felt sore and tired. But the closer to 2:37 a.m., it was like someone shot me up with straight caffeine. It just kept getting louder and louder and fucking louder. That 1 minute, that one fucking minute, just made every day feel like torture. My hair started falling out. I remember I couldn't even bring myself to feel sad when I saw the clump of black curls piled up in the shower drain. I lost my appetite, and now my clothes hang off my body unattractively. I couldn't bring myself to care. The only thing on my mind, 24 hours a day, was that 1 minute where piercing dog barking and howls would flood my ears, now accompanied with the sounds of dogs whining and trying to force their way into my house. And 2 nights ago was the worst one. I kept thinking it couldn't get worse, and yet it did, every damn night. At 2:37, it sounded like they were in my walls, inside my house. I laid there, staring at my ceiling with my eyes glazed over. The dim brightness from my wall plug-in light kept me from being engulfed in the darkness, but it almost didn't matter. The scratching was relentless. It sounded like sharp claws were close to breaking open the drywall right behind me. My bed shook a little, like the wall was pushing against the frame, and I choked out a sob. Then my back door swung open. I could hear the handle smack right into the wall with a cracking sound. God, the noise. It sounded like the dogs were right in my ear. It was so loud I couldn't even hear the different barks and howls. Like it was all just one buzzing sound bouncing around inside my skull, and somehow I heard the claws scraping against my floor. And I squeezed my eyes shut. They got in. There had been at least 10 different dogs running around in my house towards my bedroom. Get out! I gasped, my eyes still firmly shut. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out of my fucking house, get out of my fucking house! I was screaming at the top of my lungs. The words stung my throat like bile from how much force I had put into them. 2:38 silence. Pickles. I bolted out of bed, stumbling over the blankets until I managed to scramble into the living room. He was awake and okay, but he looked at me with a little tilt in his head, like he was confused why I was yelling and running to him. I took sharp, shaky breaths until it didn't hurt to inhale anymore. I turned towards the back door and then I had to throw up. It was open. The handle had broken into the wall, leaving a cracked hole where it smashed into it. There were a few deep scratches, claw marks on my floor and some dirt. I kept Pickle's claws trimmed, so it wasn't my dog for sure. I scooped him up into my arms and held him tight to my chest, the tremors running through me, feeling like a seizure. I slowly made my way to the door and closed it. I tried to lock it, but the handle was broken. I pushed a chair in front of it and went to my room, Pickle still in my arms. I locked my bedroom door and put him on the bed. I wasn't going to be able to sleep, but he still could. Yesterday I called a locksmith to replace the handle, and I pointedly ignored the claw marks, especially the 4 thin lines on the outside of my bedroom door. I also ignored the warped look in my walls, like something was close to ripping them apart. Last night I got the gun out of my safe, and I put it on the pillow beside me. I didn't even bother to sleep. I just spent the entire night with my knees up to my chest, eyes open and staring at nothing. I could hear Pickles snoring softly at the foot of my bed. My mom always told me it was dirty to have a dog in your bed, especially one that sheds like he does, but I didn't care anymore. He needed to be with me. 2:36. I let out a shaky breath, my mind racing. I'd have to shoot a dog. I've never even used a gun on anything but bottles in the backyard at my brother's house. I'd probably have to shoot more than one. Fuck, there'd be blood in my bedroom. Pickles is gonna freak out. He's never even heard a gunshot. 2:37. A lone howl sounded outside my window, and I gripped the gun tightly, hot tears slipping from my eyes. The barking was insufferable right there in my ears. There was growling, a rabid and hungry noise that I could feel right behind me. The scratching started again. I could hear them in the walls, seconds from breaking out. The door blew open too, the hinges popping off easily. The footsteps were heavy and fast, and an innumerable amount of claws were at my bedroom door. I could hear the thin wood waning under their weight. And the barking was in my head. I could feel slobbering and saliva hitting the sides of my face, and I gasped out a sharp cry. My nightlight went out. I was trapped in the blackness, and I felt my stomach drop. I was confined, the space around me closing in, keeping me trapped in a tightening space where I was lost. I couldn't even hear the dogs anymore. There was a steady ringing in my ears, so painful it felt like blood was going to start trickling out at any second. I grabbed my phone off my lap and turned on the flashlight. The dog in front of me was a monster. It stood over my legs, with long, black, matted fur and a long, thin snout. It was big enough that it could have been a wolf, but it was unmistakably a dog. Its ears were pointed, the snarl on its face inches from mine. I felt a wet drop of its drool land on my skin. The expression on its face was enough to kill. I could feel my entire body shaking as I stared into its red eyes. The eyes are burned into the back of my brain. Red eyes brighter than flames, but they flickered in the same way. The smell of it was foul. It was so bad I could feel my insides churning. It stank like a corpse, like a dead animal left to rot in the summer sun. And it barked. It barked right in my face, sending an assault of thick and sticky drool all over my face, and the simmering heat of its breath singed my nose. The creak of the springs in my mattress as it leaned forward closer was gut-wrenching, and it barked again. The sheer power of its bark made my ears ring. I felt dizzy just listening to the sound and ear-splitting burst that was encouraged by the flurry of other dogs still howling away. It opened its snout wider, and sharp white teeth glistening in the light of my phone. I was done for. I knew this beast of a dog was going to snap my neck in two at 2:38. My flashlight went out. The smell, the sound, the weight of it over me was gone. I gasped in short, painful breaths, a deep stitch forming in my side. I was sweating badly, my sheets and clothes practically glued to my skin. I turned on my flashlight again and pried my fingers off the gun. I was so afraid that I didn't even think to use it. I forgot about it, honestly. I shined the light in my room, noting the chips in my walls, the holes, the scratches on the floor and on my door, which hung open ominously. I turned the light towards the foot of my bed. "Pickles," I croaked, nudging him with my toe. He didn't move. I fell getting out of bed, my legs about as solid as jello. I smacked my wall until I hit the light switch and trembled all the way over to my dog. "Pickles," I whispered, touching his soft fur with delicate hands. I picked him up and felt every nerve in my body scream in pain when his neck rolled loosely, deep, bloody tooth holes all over it. I stumbled over my own feet, promptly threw up, the burn in my throat barely rivaling the heat from my tears. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Pickles is gone. I buried him in the backyard this afternoon, and now I'm just so fucking empty. I should have done something different, but what? What the hell can I even do? My best friend is gone, and I know it got him. I know it's coming back tonight. Have you ever hated yourself? I'm not talking about minor frustrations with your character. I'm talking about really fucking hating yourself. When you just bubble up inside with the most venomous self-loathing madness to the point where you inflict self-harm, consider suicide, or even try to kill yourself. Hopefully not many of you have experienced that. Anxiety is a bitch. And that's usually how it starts. It's an unsuspecting shadow that creeps up on you and begins to swing at your psyche with a big old barbed wire baseball bat. Each time it connects, it rips out a chunk of you. Small ones at first, but then the flesh begins to weaken and the damage gets greater with every swing. And once the beating begins, it can be impossible to stop, and soon you're curled up on your bed, on the floor, in the bathroom, weeping your eyes out and hating yourself, really hating yourself. Or at least that's usually how I end up. No, why do I have to be like this? Why do I have to think things that I do? Why can't I control my own thoughts? Why am I constantly drawn to the negative? Why can't I be stronger? Why am I such a fucking weakling? Like I said, the anxiety inevitably turns into self-loathing. And then the really bad shit starts coming. The hatred. The desire to feel something, anything beyond the crippling despair. And suddenly you look in the mirror with a razor blade in your hand, eyes ablaze with desperation. I don't think I've ever actually tried to kill myself. But I've come close. And the thoughts are there, surrounded by the acid of your own poisonous thoughts. Death has an appeal that cannot be understood by someone on the outside. I have undergone these tortures. I'm deeply ashamed of them. I don't wear my weakness proudly like some do. I don't tote my imperfections so that others may sympathize. Please don't sympathize. Don't feel empathy for me. That'll only make things worse. I'm pathetic. Scoff if you want, but don't empathize. I'd rather you damn me for being an emotional wreck. I can take that. I get it. Not everyone is like this. It's often viewed as immature, attention-seeking, or just plain weak, and maybe it is. Who knows? Who knows why we are the way we are, so who gives a fuck, right? Oh, boo-hoo, poor me. What's this got to do with anything, right? Well, unfortunately, this has to do with everything. And the body of black and gold. I paced my living room, hands absently tapping my leg. My mind was racing, and it was bad. I knew it was bad, but the cork had been removed hours ago. What was she doing right now? Who was she talking to? Was she thinking about me? Did she ever think about me? I stopped pacing to check my phone, and it stared back at me blankly. I huffed a frustrated sigh and started pacing again. I knew I needed to stop. I knew I needed to calm down, but I just couldn't. I was deep in it tonight. It doesn't matter. You know it doesn't matter. I growled suddenly. Who the hell cares? You know she loves you. And I did know. Sophia loved me unconditionally. She was wonderful, the best girlfriend I could have ever dreamed of. And she didn't deserve my paranoid insecurities. She didn't deserve to hear them, or see them, or even know they existed. This was my own shit. Concocted by an emotionally abused mind, and I would be goddamned if I let it ruin our wonderful relationship. And yet the disease persisted. Some days were worse than others. And tonight it was worse. I sat down on my couch and gripped my phone with both hands. Stop thinking about her, I hissed. Stop thinking about what she's doing. You're going insane. I looked down at my phone. No, I whispered. Don't text her either. You're going to sound desperate and weak. Sophia was a fairly recent addition to my life. Beautiful, smart, amazing addition. We'd started to date just a couple months ago and had fallen hopelessly in love since. Things were perfect with her. Things were incredible. She was funny, smart, gorgeous, motivated, incredibly compassionate. The complete opposite of the nightmare exes that had instilled and imprinted this awful anxiety and paranoia I now hosted. The creeping feeling that something would go wrong, something had to go wrong. Things always went wrong, and what would I do then? How would it make me feel? How would I react? Shut up, I begged, clutching my head. Please just shut up. What if I found out she cheated on me? What if I find out she had kissed someone else? Would that be enough to end it? Is that a forgivable offense? What if she was kissing someone right now? Shut the fuck up! I screamed suddenly, my eyes bulging. Please stop! But the disease was hot tonight. It was horny. It was ready to bend me over and fuck me until I was completely spent. Oh my God, you're pathetic. I spat, pacing again. You have no reason to fear any of this. Get a fucking grip, man. She'd leave me. She would absolutely leave me. Especially when she saw this behavior, this psycho display of unjustified insecure anxiety, and who wouldn't? This wasn't something someone should have to deal with, especially when it was completely unwarranted. And that's what made it all the more frustrating, because she was incredible. So why was my mind torturing me with this bullshit? There wasn't a red flag in sight, just the fluttering mast of my own sinking ship. Just turn off, I pleaded with my mind. Just turn off and leave me alone, please. They all cheated. They were all attention seekers. She's probably out somewhere right now, pawing drinks off some guy that wasn't me. But I would never know. Not until it was too late. Isn't that what the others had done? Isn't that what they all did? Leave me alone! I screamed, my head splitting. She's not like that, and you fucking know it! I fell to my hands and knees, gasping, tears forming in the corners of my eyes. I could practically hear my mind laughing at me, and why wouldn't it? It was crushing me. This wasn't a battle, this was a mental slaughtering. I was so deeply afraid and ashamed of myself. Why couldn't I stop? These were the worries of a child, an insecure little boy. A horribly conditioned little boy. One who saw a belt and thought pain instead of pants. My fingers dug into my skull, tore at it, and clawed at it. I wanted to text her so bad. I turned my phone off. Nothing good would come of it. I needed to learn to deal with the shit on my own. If I reached out to her, my fears would be obvious, and she didn't deserve to see that. I had constructed these fears, and I needed to learn how to tear them down on my own. There's no reason to be afraid of shadows you project on the wall. You can see the hands. You can see the shapes they're making. You know the shadows are of your own doing. You know they're not really the monsters your fingers contort them to be, and yet they terrified me. I clutched my face. Pain flared behind my eyes, like they were filling up with something. Peace whirled through me like a fuzzy mist. I had seen her earlier today, Sophia. She always calmed me, consumed me, filled me with confidence. She pushed away the fears, and I knew they wouldn't be back for a couple days. She had the power to do that. I prayed that one day, mercifully, she'd have the power to destroy that part of me. I knew that was on me, though. Only I could rid myself of the staggering anxiety that assaulted me on an almost daily basis. The irrational, intrusive bullshit that plucked and picked at my mind without an ounce of evidence or fact. Some days I wondered if I'd be happier if I were single again. Without fail, the thought made me want to vomit. I rolled over on my bed and checked the clock, and it was almost midnight. I was tired. Tired and thankful I was being spared an onslaught of paranoia tonight. I would sleep well, just like I always did when I got to see her. I closed my eyes and pictured her face. Beautiful, perfect face. The way she smiled, the way she smiled at me. There was such a care and kindness in the way she did that. That special smile reserved just for me. How could I fear against something so pure, so true? Because you're a lunatic, I muttered, feeling sleep approach. And you got bags and bags of shit clogging your stupid mind. Just the thought of all that, all the trauma I'd gone through in my life made me wince. My face burned, and I felt the pressure behind my eyes. It's like they were filling up with something. I knew it was going to be a bad day. I could feel it in the back of my throat as soon as my alarm clock went off. I sat up in bed and rubbed my eyes, and already I felt the weight in my chest. My mind buzzed like it had been preparing for my awakening with great anticipation. I tried to block everything out, if only for a moment, if only so that I could scrub my surroundings into focus. Did Sophia even like me? Maybe she was just using me to get over something. Maybe when I wasn't around, she had a completely separate life, one that I wasn't a part of or even aware of. Maybe she laughed about me with her friends, the fragile, emotionally unsettled loser. Oh my God, please don't start. I begged weakly. Don't start with this shit already. It was my day off. I wouldn't even have a distraction today. I looked over at my alarm clock. Why did I even set the stupid thing? Habit? I want to go back to sleep, but the furnace of thought was already roaring. I slumped back down onto my pillow and closed my eyes. Why was this starting already? Why did I wake up like this? You're pathetic. You have a perfect girlfriend who loves you to death, and you spend half of your time wondering how it's going to go to hell. Is that what you want? Is that how you want to remember your time together in these early months? Why don't you fucking man up? Grow a goddamn pair and stop being such a weepy-eyed little bitch. How about that? Can you handle that, Cupcake? You fucking fragile flower, you. Jesus, why don't you just write it all down in your little diary so you don't forget, yeah? Why don't you write a poem about how sad you feel, and then you can mail it to Fuck Offville, where all the emotional wrecks go? They can start building you a house and you can move there, you weak, pathetic, frowny-faced fuck. Christ, I mean, what is wrong with you? You know what? You do deserve to be alone. You don't deserve her. You don't deserve anything. Fuck you. Yeah, I said it. Fuck you. Why don't you kill yourself? Spare the world your sad little bitch tears and just fucking kill yourself. Just walk into the bathroom and fucking slice your wrists open. What a cliche piece of shit that'd be, huh? The abused disaster finally ends it in a dramatic bloodbath. It's almost hilarious if it wasn't so fucking disgusting. Christ, are you crying? Are you fucking crying? Get a grip on yourself. I mean, Jesus H. Harold. You think crying is gonna fix your shit? You think sniveling like a little baby is gonna make things better? Go fucking die. How can you stand yourself? You have so many good things going for you, and you're fucking curled up crying over some made up shit. You, sir, are insane. Unwell, weak-willed, and fucking useless to everyone. Why are you still in bed? Get the fuck up and go to the fucking bathroom. Look yourself in the mirror and fucking say goodbye. I clutched my head, the pain overwhelming, and I couldn't breathe. My eyes burned like they were filling up with something. Sophia was on a business trip, and she'd been gone for 3 days, and I was dying. I sat in my car, face in my hands, and I tried to steady myself. Work was over for the day. It was just me now. Me in my empty, quiet apartment, alone with my thoughts, my cancerous thoughts. As usual, my mind was racing. It pummeled me from all sides with every possible scenario, every awful, terrible fear I had. I knew it was self-made. I knew it was all in my head. I knew it was all just my cruel imagination, so why couldn't I control it? Why the hell was I so powerless against it? I thought again about all the horrible shit that I'd gone through in my younger years. I thought about all the malicious cunts that I had dated and all the terrible abusive shit they put me through. I thought about how they used to make me feel, about the things they'd say to me. I thought about how they would leave me for days and things got bad. how they'd come back in someone else's clothes, about how they'd lie to my face and expect me to eat their shit, and I did. Christ, did I ever? I thought about how they'd throw things at me, scream at me, spit on me, laugh at me. I curled my fists at the thought. It was a goddamn miracle I didn't kill those fucking animals. You know they made you like this, I muttered to myself. You know you're afraid because of them. Just saying it out loud helped a little. Don't let them ruin this amazing thing you have. Sophia doesn't deserve that. You don't fucking deserve that. Don't let them control your future because of what they did to you in the past. Fuck them, right? Yeah. Fuck them. I got out of my car and walked inside, feeling slightly better. As I closed the door behind me and tossed my keys onto the counter, I felt my phone buzz. A text message. I pulled it out and saw it was a text from Sophia. Smiling, I opened it. It read, "That's hilarious. Well, I'm looking forward to it. See you soon." Confused, I responded. Looking forward to what? You coming home early? I grinned at the thought. What a wonderful surprise that'd be. A new message. I opened it. Oh, sorry, babe. I said that to you by accident. Love you. I stared at the screen, feeling my heart sink into my stomach. Who had this been intended for? Who was she meeting up with? Claws clawed over my mind. No, stop it, I said quietly. Don't start. It's probably just a work friend and they're getting a drink together or something. It's no harm. It might even be a guy. I mean, even if it is, who cares? People do that all the time, right? Nothing weird or suspicious about that. I trust her. But did I trust the person she was meeting? Sophia was an extremely attractive woman. Men were drawn to her without fail. Not only was she beautiful, but she was fun and smart. Loved to talk to people. What if this guy started pumping drinks into her? What if she started drunkenly flirting with him? A hand here, a look there, a whisper, a chuckle, a kiss on the cheek. Stop it! I screamed, roared, throwing my phone across the room. I don't want to be like this. Please just fucking stop it. God damn it, please. My head ached. My vision spun, and there was awful pressure behind my eyes, like they were filling up with something. She's probably going to flirt with them, and why not? You're not there to see. What's the harm in a little flirting? It doesn't have to mean anything until it does. Until she's leaving you for him. Isn't that what they all do? Every man, woman, and piece of shit that infects this world. They're all just a bunch of slimy, disgusting, slithering monsters, a conglomeration of selfish, blood-sucking vampires that are out to drain anyone who gets near them. They bring you in, they hug you close, and then they sink their teeth into you, and you won't know it until you're almost dead, until your blood is almost gone, until you see their fangs and you know it's too late. That's not what I think. I howled. Stop thinking like that. I don't want this. Go away. Fuck you. Fucking pathetic pussy. You can handle your own thoughts. Fuck off, I screamed. I suddenly slammed my face into the wall. Hard. Bringing stars. It was just enough to falter the flow of poison, if only for a moment. But it came back. It always came back. Why can't you just be like everyone else? Why can't you think rationally like everyone else? Why can't you just be happy? Why do you overthink fucking everything? Why can't you get over your own bullshit? What the
fuck is wrong with you? Shut up! I cried, slamming my face into the wall once more. I tasted blood on my tongue as my nose bounced off the hard surface. The shocking pain brought tears. I felt them overflow and spill down my cheeks, and that was all it took. I slumped down onto the floor and I covered my face with my hands. I cried, shoulders shaking, defeated, broken, empty, alone. I was so deeply ashamed of myself that I wanted to die. I just wanted to fucking die and empty myself of this vicious hell. I didn't deserve anyone. I didn't deserve happiness. How could anyone expect to put up with this circus of madness, this insecure, wrecked, sniveling pile of flesh? Cries crawled from my throat and I curled up on the floor, unable to stop. It was also meaningless. I'd never get better. This would never end. I had been molded into this pathetic excuse of a person and there was no escaping it. I couldn't fix myself. I couldn't change the way I thought. I could only cope and cope and cope until I couldn't cope any longer. There was an end to this road, and the end was dark and full of death. Fuck this, I wept, crawling to my knees. I wiped my eyes miserably and staggered into the bathroom. My whimpers echoed off the tile and filled my head, a reminder of what a weak, hopeless human being I was. I reached for the medication cabinet and retrieved my razor. I ripped the plastic head off and held up the slim blade, and I stared at it. And then I stared past it into the mirror, into my own eyes. Horror ripped through me like a bullet. What the fuck? I sputtered, leaning towards the mirror. The whites of my eyes had gone completely black. My irises glowed gold. Specks of that same gold slithered through the midnight scleras. What's happening to me? I croaked, pulling my eyelid up to examine the terrifying transformation. I rolled my eyes in their sockets to examine the change. Black and gold. Forever. Black and gold. I raised a finger and pressed it against the bags beneath my eyes. I winced and recoiled, pain shuddering through me. There was an immense pressure around my eyes, the skin tight, pregnant with fluid. I blinked at my reflection, my golden eyes swallowed around a mouthful of ebony. I looked down at the razor blade in my hand. I gingerly prodded the skin around my eyes with my other hand. Something was in there. Something was beneath the flesh. Slowly, I raised the razor to my face and placed the blade beneath my left eye. And slowly I began to part the skin. I moaned painfully as fluid began to release. A thick, tar-like ooze drizzled down my cheek as I separated the skin. Hesitantly, I dabbed it with my finger and raised it to my eyes, and I almost screamed. The fluid rose up on my finger and squirmed with a life of its own, and then it began to foam and grow, and it puffed up like a storm cloud filling with rain. Panic, I flicked it into the bathtub, and it landed with a splat and it continued to foam. When it reached the size of a baseball, it stopped expanding. I got down on my knees, eyes still oozing, and watched. The black orb split along the top, and suddenly, the alien mass began to whisper, "Kill me, please. Kill me." I recoiled and stood back up. What the fuck? I looked into the mirror, and the flow of oily pus had stopped. And to my amazement, I felt a little better. I switched hands and brought the razor up to my other eye, and slowly I began to carve the flesh around the other socket. More pus vomited from the cut, a gurgling flow that I caught in my hand and placed in the bathtub. The mass foamed once more and grew bigger. More mouths formed, and they began to whisper, "Useless. Kill me. Pathetic, sad. Very sad." My voice grated across my teeth. "Are you the ones that have been torturing me? No good. Alone. Isolated. Sabotage." "Shut up," I cried. "Just shut the hell up." "Kill. End. Finish. Useless." "Shut up," I screamed. I sliced the razor at the mass of foaming substance, and it shuddered, a whimper escaping many mouths. And that's when an idea bloomed in my exhausted mind. I spun back to the mirror. Breathing heavily, I began to carve up my face. Ooze poured from a dozen different lacerations, and I collected it all. I gathered it off my face and flung it into the bathtub to conjoin with the rest. And when I thought I had enough, I tossed the razor aside. The ruined flesh of my face burned fiercely, but I paid no mind to it. I chanced a single glance back into the mirror, and my glowing golden eyes stared back. But they weren't as bright as they used to be. I got to my knees and plunged my hands into the goo, and then I began to shape it. First the legs, then the arms, then the head. The shit was like putty, and when I finished, I stepped away. I watched the wriggling body, a golden flaked mass of pitch black darkness. It flopped and called out to me, 100-odd mouths whispering poison, loathing. I cast my hatred down upon it, and then I went to the hardware store. I don't know how many hours had passed. I sat against the far wall of the bathroom, an array of blackened tools splayed out before me. I'd started with the hammer, and then the pliers, and then the pickaxe. I had smashed and cut and stabbed and burned and sliced and mutilated the abomination in my tub dozens of times over, and each time it died, I had revived the razor and emptied myself of the poison. Each time I had remolded the figure. And then I got to work once more. Sweat coated my body. My discarded shirt lay stained and soaked through on the tile. My hair clung wetly to my forehead, and I gasped down air. My muscles burned from the torture. Oh, how I had screamed. And slowly, weakly, I stood. I looked into the mirror one last time. I barely recognized myself beneath the mutilation. But my eyes were my own once again.
Hello. You started to move into my house today. I watched through the cracks. I've been alone for a long time. Hello. You talked to your mother on the phone today and you want her to come over to our house. I'm so excited to meet your mother. Hello. I missed you last night. Where were you? Hello. I'm under your bed tonight, listening to the ecstasy of your breath as you sleep. Earlier, your hand slipped from under your pink elephant blanket. Elephants are your favorite animal. Your perfect fingertips dropped down in front of my face. This made my mouth water. I wanted to lick your fingers, I wanted to twist my tongue around them, and I wanted to take them in between my rotting teeth and suck. I wanted to so bad. But I waited, and instead I gently held your fingers. I sniffed and sniffed. You smelled like your apple cinnamon hemp lotion and the ham and cheese hot pocket you had for dinner. I smelled your fingers for hours until you rolled over and took away your perfect hand. Hello.
You left the bathroom door open when you showered today. I know you meant to. You were just trying to tease me, weren't you? Well, it worked. I climbed down from the attic as quietly as I could. I slid through the kitchen and I crept through the hall. I climbed on the wall so I wouldn't make the floor creak. You were singing a song when I peered inside. The hot steam whipped around your deliciously naked body. You were cleaning yourself, and you touched yourself everywhere as you did. I wish I could have been that soap, seeping into every unseen crevice. I watched you until your phone vibrated and you ended your shower. I went back to the attic alone, but aroused. So aroused. Someday you'll join me. Hello. Your mom came over today. You look just like her. Your brother came over too. I saw the way he smiled at you, the way he laughed at your jokes. I bet he loves you. I bet he wants to fuck you. I'll kill him if he ever enters our home again. I'll keep you safe. I'll kill him. Hello? You almost caught me today. I was hiding under the sink when you were in the bathroom. I cracked the door as slowly as I could, and I stared at your unclothed hips. I saw your underwear around your beautiful ankles. I wanted to see more. I leaned out a little bit more, and the door squeaked. I hid in the shadows behind the other door when you looked inside. You looked right at me. You reached for me. You touched me. You moved the toilet paper to look behind it, and I quivered at your touch, and you quickly left me alone again. I think I scared you. I need you to touch me again. Hello. I saw you eating breakfast today. You chew too fast. Didn't anyone ever tell you that you should savor your food? I watch every time you take a bite, the way your teeth press and grind. Sometimes I try to mimic you. I've been practicing. I found an old bag of flour in the basement and I mixed it with the water from our favorite toilet. It's almost like the oatmeal you make, but not quite. It clumps in my throat and sticks to my teeth, and I can't taste anything. But I imagine I'm you, eating just like you. One day I'll get it right, and then we can eat together. Hello. You left some hair on the sink today. Just a few delicate strands, and golden, soft, and so unlike mine. I've been collecting them, you know. Every strand that falls from your head I save. I keep them all. Sometimes I run them through my fingers, pretending it's you I'm touching. I've twisted a few of them into a ring, and I wear it around my finger. I can almost feel you tighten around me when I wear it. You're always with me. In every little thread, every small piece of you that you leave behind. I'll make you one with my hair. My first gift to you. I'll give it to you soon. Hello. Your sock fell out of the laundry basket, and I couldn't help myself. I came down from the ceiling and grabbed it before you could come back. I took it to my room and I slipped it around my hand. I held it to my face, and it was so good that I cried. Your smell is so strong there. I wore your sock over my tongue, letting the fibers stretch and catch in my teeth. I sucked on it until I couldn't taste the salt of your sweat anymore, until I could feel the weave unraveling in my mouth. I know you'll wonder where it went, but don't worry. It's with me now, where no one will ever find it. Hello. I watched you brush your hair today. Long strokes from root to tip. I'm making my hair longer to be like you. You pulled out a few more strands and you threw them away. I came down after you went to bed, and I left you your new ring on your nightstand, and then I pulled the hairs from the trash and I rolled them into a little ball. I placed them under my tongue, and I'll keep it there all night. And it felt like your voice was inside my mouth, your beautiful words rolling over my gums.
I swallowed it. I think it will grow inside me. A little piece of you, safe inside me until it blooms into something beautiful. Something we can share. I'll put something inside of you too. Hello. You didn't wear your ring. You threw it away. It was the wrong size, wasn't it? I'm so fucking stupid. I'm such a fucking worthless idiot that I can't even get it right. I'm stupid. I'm so stupid and worthless. I hate myself. Hello. Did the new ring fit? I don't see it. You put it somewhere safe, didn't you? You're so thoughtful. You didn't sing in the shower today. You always sing in the shower. Did something happen? You were so much quieter. I waited for you to hum even a single note, but you didn't. It's okay if you're tired. I can learn to hum for you next time. I know the song you like. I've been listening long enough. Hello. You've started locking your bedroom door at night. Do you feel safer that way? I've noticed you fidgeting with the lock, twisting it back and forth like you're afraid it might break. I don't need the door. I don't need to go through it to be with you. I'm so much closer than you think. When you sleep, I'm already there, curled up under the bed or tucked tightly in the corner. I feel your breath on my skin every night. And when you wake up gasping, I'm there to count your breaths until you fall back asleep. Hello. You tossed and turned in bed last night. Your eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. At the shadows. You were thinking of me then, weren't you? Your hand twitched like you wanted to reach out for me, and you should have. I would have held it all night from under the bed. Hello. I came closer tonight. I brushed my finger over your cheek, light as a feather as you slept. I ran my finger across your lips, and I softly pulled your mouth. I love your teeth. I slid my finger into your mouth, and I felt your supple tongue. Your eyes started to water and you whimpered. I think you were having a bad dream. Hello. You started leaving the lights on tonight. Your room is filled with a brightness that makes the shadows thin. I like the dark better, but if this is what you want, I'll learn to love the light for you. I stood in the corner, just outside the reach of the lamp's glow, and watched you. You kept looking at me, didn't you? Did you want me to come out? You need your rest, though. I just stood there and waited, until you closed your eyes. Hello. You left your underwear on the floor in the bathroom tonight. I can see it. Smell it. I'll keep them safe in my room. Hello. I saw you were running out of toothpaste when I used your toothbrush. I tried to refill it with the toothpaste in my mouth, but I only filled it up a little bit before your alarm went off. So now I'm waiting under the sink, waiting for you to relieve yourself. It's my favorite time of the day. You threw up when you brushed your teeth. The sound of you retching made me sad. I wonder, are you getting sick? Hello. I can almost see the veins beneath your skin, blue and racing with blood. You've been scratching your arms a lot lately. I can see the marks from where you've been digging your nails in. Does it itch? Are you trying to get your veins out? I've been scratching myself too, just to understand what it feels like. What you feel like. My skin rips so much easier than yours. I left a piece of it under your pillow. I thought you might want to see it. Hello. You didn't seem to notice my skin when you went to bed. Maybe I'll leave a bigger piece next time. You're eating breakfast slower today. You chew everything over and over. It looks hard to swallow. Are you not hungry anymore? I tried to eat along with you, but I couldn't swallow either. It all felt wrong. But maybe I just need more practice, I'll get better, I promise. We'll eat together soon. Hello. You've been coughing a lot lately. I heard you last night. Those deep, rattling sounds shaking your whole body. I wonder if your throat hurts. You didn't drink your tea again. But don't worry, I drank it for you. It was cold, but I didn't mind. It still tastes like you. The way your lips touched the cup left a smudge behind. I love it when that happens. I savor every bit of you left behind. Hello. You didn't even get out of bed today. You just lay there with eyes half open, staring at the ceiling. You barely touched your water. You need to drink more. I licked the spoon you used for your soup, and I felt the warmth from your touch. It's like I can taste your sickness. Don't worry. I'll eat it for you. You're too tired. Let me take care of you. Hello. You aren't getting out of bed today. You didn't eat. You didn't drink. You lay there, almost as pale as your sheets. I will help. I'm better at eating now. Do you remember the hair I ate? It's almost done. It'll be yours soon. Hello. You're going to meet me today. I'm going to eat with you. I've been watching you for so long that I think I'm scared. What if you don't like me? What if I do something embarrassing? Well, it'll be fine. I've been practicing for so long. I've learned to do everything just like you. I brush my hair, I brush my teeth, I wear your clothes. I'm just like you. I made you an elephant from the hair in my stomach. I hope you like it. You looked so weak, so tired, and I know I could have helped you. I brought the food you left behind. I wanted to share it with you. I thought you'd understand. I crawled out slowly, my limbs painfully twisting to mimic you, trying to make my movements graceful just like I had practiced. I smiled, even though I don't have any lips, hoping you would understand, hoping you would see me and finally know that I loved you. But you screamed. You lashed out and broke the plate full of food I made. The sound hurt and it cut me. I didn't know you would scream. Why did you scream? I screamed back. I didn't know what else to do. Your voice wouldn't stop. It was so shrill. You got louder and louder until all I could feel was the shrillness splitting my head. Your screams were too much. I moved before I could stop myself, my hands around your throat. I squeezed. Maybe too tight. But you wouldn't stop. You choked, gasping for air, eyes turning red, and then you dropped from my hands. The sound of your head hitting the chair scared me, and your neck bent in a bad way. You can't bend like that. But still you kept screaming. Why did you still keep screaming? Why wouldn't you just stop? I leaned over you and I grabbed your arms and I shook you and I screamed back louder. I kept shaking and screaming at you. Wasn't I good enough? I tried to make myself look like you, walk like you, smell like you, eat like you. I tried to do everything right. But the way you looked at me, why didn't you love me the right way? And then you were still. Quiet. You stopped moving, but my hands were still shaking you. Your sweaty, salty, slick body slipped from my grip again, and you hit the floor. I just wanted you to understand, but your eyes were so wide, so full of fear. I didn't want you to be afraid of me. Why didn't you accept me? Why won't you just move? Why did it go so wrong? Why won't you say something? I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to, but now you're not moving, and I don't know what to do. I just wanted to be closer to you. I wanted to eat with you. I wanted to be like you. Why do you hate me? Hello. I ate you today, piece by piece, just like I used to dream of. Your hair, your skin, your lips, your eyes, your fingers, your thighs, your legs, your feet, your brain, your spine, your bones. You're inside me now. I can feel you becoming part of me. We're finally the same. Now, I'm finally going to be you. Goodbye. Hey guys, Alias here. I hope you liked tonight's story. I wrote this one. This was a short story, the shortest I've actually ever written, I believe. I don't know if I did quite right with the narration. I might redo this one in the future. We'll see. It turned out okay. I feel like I could have done better, but I also feel like it fit very well. Let me know your guys' opinions in the comments. Also, be sure to check out the merch store, supers, channel memberships, all that fun stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, bell icon, etc., etc. You know the drill. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.